The deranged slasher gets a super deformed release. Here's your look at the Star Ace. This is the Defo Rail series Friday the 13th remake, Jason Voorhees. The Defo Real Jason Voorhees Deluxe version vinyl collectible is about 15 centimeters or 6 inches tall. Carries a machete in one hand and an axe over his shoulder. His horrifying face is hidden behind a removable hockey mask. This deluxe version also comes included with a metal bear trap on a chain. The first thing we're going to do before we get a gander at this super deformed version of Jason Voorhees from Star Ace is, of course, to figure out how tall the figure actually stands. While I'm doing this, I'd also like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at Star Ace who sent this my way. Truth be told, we actually did already look at the standard release Jason Voorhees, but what we didn't look at was the deluxe version of Jason Voorhees, which essentially is the same figure with one extra goodie. We'll look at that in a second. Before we do that, though, get a quick look at what I'm showing you guys right here. 5.8 inches in height is Jason Voorhees from the Defo Real series, and that in centimeters works out to be 14.8, almost 15 centimeters tall. Yes, looking at the accessories that come included with the Jason, the one thing we weren't able to address earlier when we first had a look at this figure in the standard release is that Jason Voorhees in the deluxe version comes included with the bear trap. The same, in fact, bear trap that he uses to catch Richie in the Friday the 13th remake. I always found like the characters in the opener of Friday the 13th seemed more interesting than the characters we got after the title credits. Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way. But the bear trap itself is actually made of metal. It's a nice touch done by Star Ace that actually does have an open and closed mouth to it. While I don't have to worry necessarily of putting my foot in there, or in this case my finger, and having this closed latch shut on me, I must say though the teeth are fairly sharp, or at least pointy. You certainly know it when you run your finger across it that there's some sharp teeth going on with this particular bear trap. As I said, though, it's all done in metal, which is a nice touch. Real nice paintwork done to rust up the design and look of the bear trap. It also does have a chain, too, which is a nice touch. A little bit smaller, yes, and proportionally to Jason Voorhees. Maybe the chain might be a little too small, but it's still nice the fact that it actually would include such a thing. Again, only available if you manage to get your hands on the deluxe version. What's remaining are the accessories that would be packed with the standard release, so the figure that we had a look at before. To come included with the figure in the standard release and the deluxe version, he comes included with the axe. The axe itself is very nicely painted in a almost cream color done in the handle, and then of course the head of the axe, which has a nice edge to it. You can see the nice, not quite obviously sharp, I'm not worrying about drawing blood, but it does have a nice silver edge painted to it, and it seems to almost have a transition where it's not a straight out solid line of silver. In fact, actually it kind of looks like it transitions a bit into the main head of the axe. It's a nice looking piece. It's a bit difficult, to be fair, to get into Jason's hand. For that, we're going to pick up the figure itself. And to fit this through his hand, you sort of have to navigate it quite close for comfort, too close perhaps for comfort. You just have to wiggle the axe handle back and forth till eventually it gets into the hand. This may take a few tries to pull off, but I know you guys can do it. I have faith in you. Again, you just kind of wiggle it through until eventually, there we go, till the hand eventually says, all right already, and accepts the axe. And you can display the figure like this. Now, I feel it's excess to maybe display both a machete and axe in his hand. Jason's not hitting parties with hundreds of people, but certainly by the looks of it, I did put the axe on the wrong way. We'll just twist that around. There we go. I guess it doesn't really matter which way that you put it, but I mean, certainly for him to be wielding both a machete and an axe over his shoulder, that's excess. And Star Ace felt the need to include both accessories in his hand. In a way, it's a bit of a shame that the one arm wasn't something that could rotate down. So if you decided for yourself, heck, I'm just going to leave the axe off in its entirety. To leave it off, it kind of looks like Jason's trying to tell somebody, can I borrow your phone? Excuse me, can I borrow your phone? Why is everybody running away? Excuse me, can I borrow? That person's running away too. So yeah, because the hand is stacked in the way that it is, means that you can only, you can either go with the axe or sans the axe. It looks like Jason's, like I said, he's just got his arm up for no apparent reason whatsoever. In case you are wondering, the machete isn't removable. I suppose it could free itself if I convinced it and kept prying away at it, but I worry that it would break the handle, so I'm going to stay away from that. It really comes out of the packaging with the machete in his hand, and for all the more reasoning of that, I'm just going to leave it in place. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to poke the wasp nest, because I know what's going to happen if I try to force that out of his hand. It's going to get broken for sure. There is technically one other accessory. I'm sure you already know, you guys are all smart viewers, what it is exactly, and that is his mask. The mask actually, when it's packaged, the mask is separate. It's over here, or it's over here, or maybe it was down there, but it does come separate from the figure. I feel in a way the surprise is lost, being that the mask is over here, or down over there. If they had just kept the mask in place, it could be more the surprise to the collector who picks this piece up for themselves, because then you wouldn't know what Jason looks like underneath the mask. But I'm going to go ahead and reveal it right now. We can just lift the mask off. There we go. It's a good dense plastic that they used. It has a little give, sure, but it's still a fairly thick looking mask. That's what it looks like right there. Straps in the back are nice and thick as well, so I don't feel like I'm going to have any issues with the straps breaking off. We're going to put that down for a second. Just one more close look. There you go. Nice looking mask. I just really like the paint that they applied to it. Likely this is probably the color of the mask underneath, and like I said, they've just airbrushed over top of it. But I mean, there's a lot of multiple colors at play here. It's not just all one color working. Nice, just overall, just like the surface of it on the very edge. You can just see how much paint that they actually put into this piece. But now, nonetheless, we're going to just put that down for a second, and that's what Jason's face looks like. Very little of a glance we see actually in the film itself. And there's a couple of versions. Of course, Jason retrieving said mask. I kind of actually like the director's cut, I think, a little bit more, where Jason, of course, finds the mask hanging in the background. I think that works better than him walking down the stairs, carrying gasoline from what I remember. But definitely the deluxe, or the director's cut, definitely was a better way that Jason discovers his mask. Get a good close-up look, everybody. Feast your eyes on this. If you were planning on eating now, I'm convinced you probably have stopped and changed your mind, maybe for a later time. I mean, the teeth on him just alone, the amount of paint and grime that they added to the teeth, a very slick coat of yellow. It actually looks like he's got a little bit of drool actually starting to settle. There's also a fair bit of blood. I don't know if that's his blood or blood from somebody else. You would imagine, though, I mean, if he's got the mask over top of it, that's likely his own blood. I mean, just look at the texturing done to the skin. The wrinkles, and even just like the way that the paint's been applied. It's speckled on. It doesn't have a consistency across the entire surface. Some of the areas are pink. Some of the areas are this lighter peach color. And then he's got blood also at the top of his head there as well. One thing I don't like about the figure, unfortunately, and that's more so just to the design of Jason, I've never really liked long hair on Jason. And that problem I'm posing right now is more so connected to the way he looks in the remake of Friday the 13th. I would love to actually see, I don't know what licensing is right now for Star Ace to produce more Jasons, but if they could kind of do what they're doing right now so well with other Jasons from previous films, I know, legalities right now of things being settled in courts probably will mean we're not going to be getting any Jasons anytime fast. But based on what they've done right here, and based on just the recently looked at Nun, Valak was an outstanding looking piece also in the Super Deformed line. I would certainly love to see what they could work their magic to when it comes to previous Jasons from the earlier Friday films. I mean, one thing I really like too is this one area of his eye there. I mean, you can see there's a pupil underneath that, but that is one dead looking eye. Much larger also than this one over here. When it comes to displaying the figure, likelihood I'll definitely be going more mask than anything else, being as well that we've looked both at the standard release and now the deluxe version, which again, really the only difference separating the two so happens to be the fact that this one comes included with the trap. Maybe what I may find myself doing is displaying Jason with the mask and then displaying the standard release sans le mask, or vice versa, swapping that in and out. Just overall, I like the design of the character. He doesn't have, like I said, any posability to speak of. He's a pretty staction-looking fellow. The Valak, for example, had posability in the arms and actually had posability in the head. I mean, maybe down the road, again, this is just throwing it out to the sky, that when the legalities, the court battles finally settle down, settle down nicely. Maybe they may actually go back and revisit this guy, because I would certainly love to see him with some posability going on for his head. Valak benefited from the fact of being later released into this line that did get some afforded articulation, like I said, in the arms, the elbows, and the head. Jason Voorhees unfortunately doesn't have that. So what he works, though, in his favor is just a really nice looking sculpt, nice looking paint, and just in case one slashing, slaughtering accessory wasn't enough, Jason actually has two. As I said, he has the machete, and then as we already had looked at, he also comes with the axe as well. A nice gory second helping of Jason Voorhees from the Star Ace Defo Real line. Granted, yes, we had looked at this figure before, but when we looked at it before, it was the standard release, so omitted from that review would have been this really cool metal, all metal I might also add, bear trap. The fact that they would actually craft this out of metal with real working jaws. No, it's not something you're going to be losing a limb over if you're going to be putting a hand or foot close to it. But the fact it does open and close is pretty impressive. Just again for an accessory that dictates whether you got the standard or the deluxe release. I'm kind of actually glad now to have the bear trap as part of his accessories. He is excessive on accessories in the sense that he does have an axe and he does have a machete. Wielding both at the same time I feel is a little too much, but that's Jason Voorhees from the remake. Jason Voorhees looked good in the remake, though I wasn't too keen on the idea of having a long hair on the back of his head. Whatever I feel about the remake itself, it sits pretty low on my favorites of Fridays. I didn't really like the characters, and I found the story was a bit bland, but the design of Jason was pretty interesting enough, and the fact that Star Ace shrinks this guy down in a more super deformed style is a pretty neat looking figure. I wonder if maybe perhaps when all those legal dramas start settling out and finally we can decide who is the rightful heir to the Friday the 13th empire, maybe, you never know, Star Ace may go back to this in the same approach that they've done with the Valak Nun, and maybe we might find ourselves a more posable version of a super deformed Jason down the road. In the meantime, I think this one has a nice look to it. A removable mask, which is not something I'm probably ever going to remove on the figure because I like the look of it with the mask. But the fact he does have a removable mask, he does have the removable axe, and he does have the bear trap working in his favor, it's a nice looking Jason to put on display. Did you manage to pick up this one for yourself? If you did, let me know down below in the comments section whether it was the standard release, whether it was the deluxe release, or maybe you picked yourself up both. You're a big Jason Voorhees fan. Also, if you guys want to go back and have a look at some of my other Star Ace reviews, there's a playlist for that. Or if you just fancy Jason Voorhees, there's a playlist just for Jason. How about that? A big thank you again to the folks over at Star Ace who were nice enough to send the deluxe version of the Defo Real Jason Voorhees my way. If you are in the market of picking this one up for yourself, you should be able to still find him through various online websites. So good luck and happy hunting. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, turn the bell notification on, and keep peepers peeled at all times because there's going to be a whole lot of videos coming your way. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.